Hello everybody, my name is Beck. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a total of 31 books to show you guys. Also I thought, and then I got these two just then. Yay! For the past 3 months or so I've been buying a bunch of books online. This is a result of accumulation from online purchases, and I think 2 of them are made in person. It's a dangerous world out there. And I started reading a lot more lately, although I choose to read off my Kindle, but I do like owning the physical book as well. So I usually like to read romance novels, and I tend to focus on contemporary, although lately I've been reading more about sci-fi. So what to expect in today's haul: I have some women's fiction, some visual novels, which is manga, and I do have I don't know, some of them are indie. Mainly they are mostly traditional published because it's really hard to access like indie authors here in Australia. I would have to buy it off Amazon, and sometimes the pricing is just kind of yikes. I mainly buy from Big W online. It has the best prices out there, the most selections, sometimes from Target Australia, sometimes from Kmart Australia. Sometimes I'm just trying to hit free shipping and I'll just add a book casually in there. But like I said, I am an ebook reader. I really don't have an excuse, but the reason why I'm doing this haul today is because it's my birthday next month and I'm just going to use it as an excuse to buy more books. So if I don't do this haul today, I'm going to have over 100 books by the time I accumulate July into the factor of this year. Let's start with Book Depository, the latest purchases that I got from them. First package. I got Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. If I butcher any of his name, apologies in advance. So I bought this. I saw the first book floating around TikTok. It is a translated book from Japanese, but this is the second book actually, so I'm assuming this is the first one. Very keen. So this is the first book, which is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by the same author. Here's the blur on the back. It is actually foiled here. It's a very pretty book and kind of pricey. It's rather thin. I can finish this within a couple of hours, I think. But yeah, first book, second book. So Before the Coffee Gets Cold and Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. Here we go. It's about time travel. Apparently it's heartbreaking. I've seen several people on TikTok recommend this book. They've also cried from it. Can't wait to cry from this. I'm someone that enjoys coffee. I love going to the coffee shops and cafes with my friends, and I also really like cats and I love the covers. On to the portions of the manga. I've had these 3 volumes sitting around my room for the past 3 months or so. It was incredibly hard to get my hands on these for a while, but now they're back in stock. Although I still have trouble getting the 4th volume, so that's why I only have 3 so far. I do intend on collecting all of the Spy Family manga. So this is the first volume. Second, Anna. I still haven't watched this show yet. I really should do that. I ripped off the stickers and it has like a sticky residue on it, so that's why I can't stack it on top. I have to be really careful. It has ruined one of my covers, unfortunately. And this is the 3rd volume. I am hunting for the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7. I think the 7 comes out on my birthday, so yay! More excuses to buy books. I've actually sectioned off my books to make it easier for people to navigate this year, hopefully. I've got my first historical romance, which is When a Scot Ties the Knot by Tessa Dare. It's part of the Castles Ever After series. I've heard really good things about this book. It is my first proper historical romance. I tend to read contemporary romance. A lot of book talk and booktubers have recommended this one as a starter pack for like historical romance, so I'm keen. And it is also my very first time buying from Blackwell's, which is a bookstore based in the UK. It did take a while to get here, but it was out of stock everywhere, and I felt like I wanted to own the physical copy. I could have easily bought it on the Kindle, but alas, I just wanted the physical book. There isn't step backs because I know it's a thing for historical romances and certain other books, but I think it's mainly historical. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't actually know. This was kind of pricey though. It was like 18 Australian dollars, but I think the price went up since I last saw, so I'm glad to have it now. There is a mosquito like flying near me and I'm that is not what I was supposed to do. Moving on to more historical romance. I don't know if it's categorized as historical romance. I'm assuming it is. I do follow the author on Instagram. I've seen this book on other people's bookshelves. I've been curious about it, and since I was on a historical romance spree one night for whatever reason, decided to pick it up. So I got the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton and the League of Gentle Women Witches. Lovely cover. I have yet to read it. It's been on my TBR shelf for the longest time ever. And turns out the author's from New Zealand, which is exciting because I'm from Australia, so neighboring countries, whatnot. Shouldn't be shopping at 3 a.m. in the morning, but I have seen pretty good reviews for this one in particular, so I'm keen to read it. There is some magic elements, hence the title Witches. I'm just quickly looking at the blur. I don't know much about it. And this one is about a Victorian lady. She's also a thief and a member of the Wisteria Society crime sorority. She flies around England drinking tea, blackmailing friends and acquiring treasures by interesting means. And she has a traumatic past and an overbearing aunt, but all things considered is pleasant existence until the men show up. So there we have it. Let's move on. I do have a lot more books to show. I would call this the fantasy / YA / I don't know. It's just easier to hold like books in 5s rather than a whole stack of 30 to show you guys. I wish I had done a little bit more research before I bought this book. I kept seeing this on TikTok during 2021, like last year. The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Clune. But like I said, had I known, I would have just borrowed it off the library to satisfy my curiosity. I do have the audiobook on loan. I have to wait at least 10 weeks for it. From now on, I'm going to do a little bit more research before I make a purchase. Let me know if you've read this and how you feel towards the history behind it. Let's discuss. I finally caved in and bought the Songs of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I have wanted to read this for the longest time ever, but I am not one for Greek mythology. I used to be when I was younger. I used to study history. I purposely chose modern and ancient history as my major back in high school. I do love history, but I just don't have the mental capacity to read anything Greek mythology related in the recent times. I know I have the capacity to read Greek mythology or mythologies in general because I used to read quite a bit back in high school, but it's been quite a long time since I did that, and I have been curious about this. Such a hyped up book on TikTok and on BookTube that I finally caved in. And also I was trying to hit free shipping. This is like a reoccurring theme throughout my videos. I know it's gonna be tragic and sad. It's been a long time coming. Eventually I would have picked it up anyway, so here we go. I'm also considering buying Cirque by the same author. I don't know if I should or not, but I will start off with trying to actually finish this before I venture out to the other books. I had my eyes on this. It was on sale randomly on Amazon one day and I was like, yes, it is time to buy it. So I got The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It is chunky. It is a weapon. I can't wait to read this. It looks beautiful on the bookshelf. Except it's been on my floor for the past 3 months or so because I was trying to film this series. So I'm so glad I can actually finally put it on my shelf. I am definitely gonna buy the audiobook for this because realistically speaking, I don't think I can actually sit down and read this unless I'm stuck on a plane for like 20 hours or so. Since I'm from Australia, this is the standard paperback size, which is the same as this. And I've seen the American copies, they're slightly larger, and I can't imagine owning a hardback copy for this book because it'll be, I wouldn't say it's impossible to read, but this is already pretty heavy by itself. Maybe I'm just weak. So I did buy the box set for The Cruel Prince, The Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black. So we have The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. I was really skeptical about this series originally, but it turns out I really like YA fantasy. Who would have thought? I tend to avoid YA and New Age because I don't really particularly like reliving my university days or my early 20s 20s. This one sparked some joy. I really enjoyed it. I listened to the audiobooks originally and I decided that I wanted to buy the box set. This box set has been featured in my previous videos. Since I'm on the tangent of books I've read, I also read The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. This was a recent purchase alongside with my other Big W order. I think I finished this book early May. I don't remember. It's in one of my wrap up videos, but anyway, I did finish this one. Didn't like it. This is my first ever Beth O'Leary book, and please look at the trigger warnings before you delve into this one. But I also read The Flat Share recently, like 2 weeks ago. That one I did enjoy. It was a lot better in my personal opinion. I would highly recommend people to read The Flat Share over The Road Trip. Just my personal preference. This book was too heavy for me and I would most likely unhaul it in the future, but I do have it in this pile. Let's move on. So I have 2 Mariana Zapata books. I've always wanted to buy the physical copies, except they're really expensive and hard to come by in Australia unless I buy it from Amazon, which is what I did. And these 2 were the ones that I was willing to fork out. As much as I love The Wall of Winnipegamy, I'm not willing to pay $50 for it yet. It's too expensive and the price keeps going up. I do want the physical copy for that, but I just can't afford it. But I do have All Roads Lead here by Mariana Zapata, like I said, and From Lukov with Love. I have read almost all of her books. So I have previously read these 2 on my Kindle, and owning the physical copy, it's like lifting weights. It's really heavy. Slow burn to the max. This one is Grumpy Sunshine, single father trope, and this one has enemies to lovers, although I wouldn't classify it as enemies to lovers. More like Ivan, the main male protagonist of this story, is just petty. But anyway, I do enjoy it. My favorite would be this one. I also own the audio books for these, so I really don't need the physical book. I just want to own them, but now that I have it, I'm very happy. The price keeps going up, so I decided to take the plunge and buy it. So we have these 2. I would love to buy more indie authors books, but unfortunately, since I'm from Australia, a lot of these are so freaking expensive. Usually Amazon does like random sales at the end of tax season, which is like right now. So from now to the end of June, that's when I like constantly refresh the page to see if any of the American indie authors / UK books are on sale, and that's when I pounce. Okay, I have more contemporary romance. If you couldn't tell by now, I go on TikTok quite a bit and I lurk on BookTube, BookTok a lot. If you want to save money, don't go on TikTok. It's a dangerous place. And don't go on BookTube. Very dangerous. I am easily influenced. Book shopping videos, it makes me so happy. And whenever I see someone buy a book, I'm like, maybe I'll like it too, and I'll add it to cart, and this is why we have over 30 books. Let's move on. So anyway, I have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins. I do intend on reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo before the film comes out, and I do intend on reading it first before I get onto Malibu Rising. I think that's like kind of the order I should go through. Maybe I should buy Daisy Jones and the Six and read that first. I don't know. I don't even know if I like this genre. I know The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is based on like an interview style. I know it's about the 50s, 60s, 70s kind of music era. I don't know if I'll like it because I've never been into that kind of lifestyle. Maybe I'll come to enjoy it. I didn't think I like sci-fi, but it turns out I like sci-fi, so okay, the lights went out, so we're just gonna have to power through it. So the next book I have is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I do own her other books. I have the audiobook version for The Soulmate Equations, and I have the physical copy for The Unhoneymooners. And I've also recently borrowed Love and Other Words from the library, and I did not like that book, and it is incredibly popular here on YouTube, and I'm kind of scared of saying that and on Book Talk. It's very hit and miss for me. The Unhoneymooners, originally I rated it 4 stars because I do enjoy a good enemies to lovers, but the more that I thought about it, the less I like about it. So if I don't think too hard, I might come to enjoy. Okay, that sounds really bad. I do enjoy the writing style, I gotta say, and I don't particularly like second chance romance, it turns out. the more you learn about yourself, the more you read, apparently. So I'm kind of scared because this one is a second chance romance. I didn't do too much research on this. I've seen it floating around on the Instagrams, the social medias, and I really wanted to read this. And I was trying to hit free shipping once again. I was like late night shopping, so I picked this one up. I'm hoping I like it. Fingers crossed for me. And another TikTok sensation I have is A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. I've also seen a lot of people on YouTube pick this book up, and I have high hopes for it. I should have borrowed this from the library, but it was not available anywhere near me, so I just bought the physical book. It's based on my least favorite thing in the world, which is like the dentist. So two dentistry students falling in love is the premises for this one. I am keen to read. Just absolutely freaking hate the dentist, but I am here for the romance. Okay, next one is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I have her other book, which is People We Meet on Vacation. I have yet to read it. The only book I've read from Emily Henry is Beach Read, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't like a 5-star read for me. I did like it enough to say it was like between a 3.5 to 4. Like I've mentioned earlier, I do love a good enemies to lovers, which is apparently what this book is. Although I've seen some of my favorite YouTubers like DNF this one, so I'm hoping I like this. It seemed like something I would enjoy. I've intended to read this last month, but it slipped my mind, so I haven't read it yet. Maybe I'll do like a duo Emily Henry like reading vlog with my People We Meet on Vacation. Next one we have Second First Impressions by Sally Fawn. I didn't know Sally Fawn was based in Canberra, so she's Australian, which is always nice to know. I have read The Hating Game, and once again, I might get cancelled for this, but I did not love The Hating Game. I thought it was okay, and I do have some issues with that book as well. It was a 3.5 for me. I've seen the ratings for this particular book, and it's not that great on Goodreads, but I want to be surprised. Maybe I'll learn to love it. I love the cover, firstly. So it's about Ruthie Madonna, who is a 25-year-old going on 125, who is committed to her job at a luxury retirement village, when a handsome but selfish rich kid, Teddy Prescott, rocks up at the retirement village newest employee. Ruthie is less than impressed. Lucky for Ruthie, her favorite pair of mischievous residents are looking for a distraction of their own, so she hands Teddy over, ready for them to send him running, but there might be more to Teddy than Ruthie had accounted on. Could Teddy not only charm the elderly women Ruthie has set upon him, but maybe even Ruthie herself? Sounds really cute and interesting. We do love a rom-com, so they both work at a fancy retirement village, and the other ladies are trying to set them up. I have read a couple of pages of it. I'm hoping it'll be good. I was kind of reluctant, I'm not gonna lie, about buying these two because I've heard nothing happens in these books, but I bought them anyway because I'm curious. So I have Sally Rooney's Normal People. I've seen so many people slandering this book on TikTok that I'm kind of scared. Are you team Sally Rooney? Are you anti Sally Rooney? I don't know. Are you team Normal People, or are you team Conversations with Friends? It seemed like a type of book that I'll enjoy, and people have told me that nothing really happens here. I could have borrowed it from my library now that I think about it, but I wanted to own the book for whatever reason. Now that I have it, here we go. Surely it can't be that bad. I've also considered buying Beautiful World, Where Are You? I saw the hardback for relatively cheap. Kind of reluctant to read, but at the same time very intrigued. I want to see why people love it / hate it. So next book I also got recently from Amazon. I didn't do any prior research. I don't know much about it. I bought it solely because it was on sale on Amazon, which is All This Time by Miki Daltrey and Rachel. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I do not know how to pronounce that, but I'll show you guys. Can you find true love after losing everything? Although the copy that Amazon gave me was kind of battered and scratched, but for the price that I paid, I wasn't bothered enough to go and return it to get another copy. Now that I read the blurb, which is about a tragic accident, about breakup and grief, I don't know if I should have bought this book. It seems very traumatic. And there's also a second book, or a sequel or prequel, I'm not sure, which is The 5 Feet Apart. This is about grief and romance. Okay, I'm gonna file this away and read it at a later date. Maybe I should do some research before I go on a book buying spree at 3 a.m. in the morning. Another Amazon purchase is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is the collector's edition. It was on sale randomly. I also own the standard copy, the standard paperback for this book. When I first joined Book Talk back in late 2021, so sometime last year, I saw this book floating around like everywhere, to be fair. I bought this book and it was on my TBR shelf for the longest time ever. Still haven't read it yet, but I saw this for cheap. It was so pretty and it was hardback on Amazon. I bought these two at the same time. I was like, sure, why not? I asked my friend Beatrix if she wanted this book and she said she did. So if you're watching this and you've made it to this point in the video, this book is for you. Now that I've shown you guys, I can like file this away, and I now own the collector's edition for this one. Still haven't read it yet. I don't know why I bought it if I haven't read it yet after all this time. I have the audiobook loan from my library. I will read it eventually. It's due in a couple of days, so I will force myself to like actually read the book for once. Okay, so I have Twisty Games by Hoang, which is book number 2. I own the first book as well. This is the special edition American copy. If you have stumbled upon this book in Australia or in the UK for that matter, it comes in the standard paperback size, which is this size. And here's my freaking dilemma. So this book is now traditionally being published, so these editions are going to run out very soon. I have pre-ordered the 3rd and 4th book in this format, but I don't think I'm going to get it. So unfortunately, I'm going to get the standard paperback size. I've already seen people getting the Twisted series at their local Big W, which is like a giant department store in Australia. Is it a department store? It sells about everything. It's kind of like Walmart if I were to compare. It has like everything. Anyway, so I've seen people buying it from Big W for $12 a pop. These were like really expensive. I paid like $20 for it, but it is the American special edition, which is like longer, thicker, and has like that matte texture towards it. And I already have like the first 2 books in this format, and it's gonna bug me. The other 2 other books in the series, it has a total of 4 books that are gonna be like the standard paperback size. It'll be fine. Haven't read it yet. I do own the audiobook for the Twisted Love, and I'm waiting for the audiobook to drop for Twisty Games because I just know for a fact that I'm not going to physically sit down and read it, but I just wanted to own the copy. I have high hopes for it. Next book, we have Big Little Lies. I've seen this book floating around the Instagrams, the TikToks, and the other social media platforms I've used. I've also seen it pop up at the bookstore quite a bit, and I've always been curious about the whole series. It is now on HBO series Big Little Lies. I won't be watching it. I'll be reading the book. But what really intrigued me was, let me be clear, this is not a circus. This is a murder investigation. Sound interesting enough? We love a crime-solving investigation. Speaking of crime and investigations, I have The Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. This was like a viral TikTok moment. It has pretty mixed reviews. I was kind of reluctant picking this one up, but it was AAPI month. I am Asian, but I'm not Asian American, but I am Asian, so this is just an excuse to buy books at this point. I have high hopes for this one. I do enjoy a heist, a crime solving, a intense adventure. That was what I was promised. Yeah, it's about a heist by Chinese Americans. I am Chinese. I'm just not American, but I am Chinese, so I'm intrigued to read about this. I have high hopes. Let's move on. I just sat here and like read the blur and I didn't say anything for like a good 5 minutes. This is why these videos take like 2 hours to film, because I'm just like... Next we have Love and Other Puzzles by Kimberly Alsop. I followed the author on Instagram and she followed me back. Yeah, but I haven't read her book yet. I just like took a picture of it. Such a pretty book. If I mispronounce anybody's names or author's names, characters' names, apologies in advance. I am not good at reading out loud. I saw this book on, I wouldn't say clearance, it was half off, so it was like $8. It seemed pretty interesting. Once again, I do have the audiobook on loan. I didn't intend on buying the physical book at first, so I will be reading it very soon. I don't know much about it. I think this is more about women's fiction rather than romance now that I think about it. It talks about life and career, not to mention her relationships, so a little bit of each. It's supposed to be stepping out of a comfort zone, and sometimes the best and the worst things can happen to us. Yeah, I've seen this book floating around on my Instagram and I got really curious. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the file. Yay! Okay, we have The Kiss Principle and the Bridal Test by Helen Hoang. I do have her first book, which is, well, the first book of this series, which is The Kiss Quotient. Yes, haven't read it yet. The book has been on my shelf for like a good year at this point. Haven't read it yet. I also own the audiobook. But anyway, these are finally like traditionally published in Australia, so I managed to grab it for like a relatively decent price because the indie price for these books were like astronomical. I'm just glad I have it. I've heard really good things about this one in particular, but you know, since I own the first book, I might as well grab all of them at this point. One of these days I'm going to sit myself down and actually go through all my TBR, but today is not the day. Today is me showing you spending money. The premises of these stories are pretty interesting. This one kind of reminds me of the soulmate equation, kind of, but I think I might enjoy this one a little bit better. I just have like a little tiny beef with the soulmate equation by Christina Lauren. He didn't grovel enough. Maybe that's a tiny spoiler. But anyway, this one I actually have no idea what it's about. A viral YouTube video. Seemed interesting. I have high hopes for these two. Let's move on. These have been sitting on my floor for like a good 3 months. I'm so glad I can finally like put them away. And my final book! Yay! Anyway, so the last book I have to show you guys is Fancy Meeting You Here by Ali Berg and Michelle Claus. Oh my gosh, it's kind of damaged. I think that's on my end. I think this one was on clearance as well. I'm not too sure about it, but it's about Evie Berry is a 30-year-old wannabe screenwriter who spends her day managing a London cinema bar and making the podcast Pasta La Vista with her best friend Ben. She's also obsessed with Hugo Hearst. Have you heard of him? Of course you have. He's only one of the most influential and not to mention swoon-worthy best writers of his generation. So it's like women's fiction-y romance, I'm assuming. I saw it on clearance. I just wanted to grab it. It looked really pretty and that's why I bought it. And I'm a sucker for like bigger books too. Yay! I can actually put away these books now. So I have a total of 33 books in this whole video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say to me. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content from me. Hit the bell for notifications. And quite honestly, look forward to another haul video next month because I'm gonna use my birthday as an excuse to buy more books. I do actually read them, but buying is also a hobby in itself at this point. Okay, I've been here for like 2 hours. I'm gonna stop now. I hope you guys have a fantastic days and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!